talked throughout publicly as though Caleb is the plan. Are you set on making him your quarterback now?
So, unfortunately, it's one of those things I think everyone's got to tune in on Thursday to watch and figure it out. But I feel really good about our process and where we are and where we're headed. So, yeah, we know what we're going to do, but everyone's going to have to wait till Thursday.
Ian Cunningham has a better poker face than Ryan Poles. Yeah. The assistant GM has the better poker face, maybe because he didn't have to say anything, but he didn't flinch. Poles couldn't help but laugh.
I thought they were both laughing a little bit. And
a little bit.
Listen, if you play a poker with either one of those guys, I like your chances. I mean, they know what's going to happen with Caleb Williams. They know Caleb Williams is the guy.
Yeah.
Somebody I checked though, Mike. Somebody on the Chicago Bears already has number 13. So Caleb had 13 at Oklahoma. He had 13 at USC. I think is his name Taylor Scott. I think Taylor Scott already wears number 13 for
Tyler Scott has 13. Yeah.
Tyler Scott. Tyler Scott.
And Keenan Allen is the most accomplished number 13. I don't know what his number is going to end up being.
So,
if he gets it from
so
Tyler
what we gonna
Scott,
do here?
He got seniority. Yeah, he got seniority.
Yeah. So if I'm Caleb, hey, you can't. But Justin Fields is number 1, right?
He was number 1.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So
maybe he does 0.
Hey, look,
maybe he goes to 0. Mariota, I think the first quarterback to wear 0. Maybe he goes to 0. Who knows? Whatever it is, it'll be a hot item in Chicago. That's for sure.
I know you've said many times that you love this time of year. It's like your favorite time on the sports calendar. And it's my favorite time, the actual draft, and most of the draft conversation I enjoy. But you know what? I think I've reached my limit. I've read one too many. I've read one too many articles, one too many studies from anonymous sources, unnamed GM, AFC executive, NFC
former
evaluator.
Scouts. Yeah. Former scouts.
Oh yeah. Former scouts.
A lot of that going on too.
Coach, insider, somebody, my favorite one, someone familiar with fill in the blank, teams, thinking, all this stuff. So I like all this stuff. Okay, I know about loose hips and knee bends and good in space and can get to the first level, second level, third level. I've heard all the jargon, all the cliches. I'm good with that. But what I'm not going to do, Michael Smith, what I'm not going to do is sit here and listen anymore to any unnamed scout, one of whom talked to The Athletic. The Athletic, a scout says, I don't know Caleb Williams, but I'm concerned about his character. There are character concerns. No, I don't know Caleb Williams. I'm concerned about his character. Over my head, what the hell are you talking about? You don't know him. You're concerned about his character. Another scout, and this is not why I'm upset. You're going to think this is why I'm upset, but it's not. It's just BS. Another scout says, hey, I like Marvin Harrison Jr., but I wonder if he has that dog in him. He doesn't appear to have that dog in him. What? What are we talking about? I just think at this time of year, right before the draft, we get to the height of bullshit. It's the height of it. So this time of year, last year,
peak bullshit season.
Yeah, it is. We heard last year that C.J. Stroud wasn't that smart. And some mock drafts had C.J. Stroud down to number 9 or number 10. He's not that smart. He can't figure out. He can't process.
Will Levis was favored to go at number 2 this time last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Several years ago, not only did we hear Bill Polian, I'll never let you forget it, not only did we hear Bill Polian wanted to turn Lamar Jackson quarterback, very productive quarterback at Louisville, into a wide receiver, we also got leaks of Lamar Jackson's, I think, Wonderlic scores or whatever they were using at the time. They were very low. And we questioned his ability to process. And 2 MVPs later, before the age of 30, Lamar Jackson is doing his thing. Mike, this is the part I don't like. This is the part that I feel like there's some people in the league who either shouldn't have their jobs, they don't know how to deal with people, or they've got too much time on their hands, they're bored, and maybe we should just start the draft. Maybe you should just silence yourself for a little bit, and then let the draft start, because this stuff is out of control. It's absurd. And the more questions you have about talented players, that lets me further know Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably, no question, going to be like the best player in this draft. The more you question these guys who have had production in college, the more I know Caleb Williams is going to be fine. Caleb Williams is going to be fine. Just like Lamar Jackson has been fine, and C.J. Stroud has been more than fine. I just wonder what these guys are doing.
They got a lot of guys that won't be fine. There's a lot of guys that there aren't questions about who will flop. Like, we've talked about this before. In every walk of life, not just NFL evaluators and scouts and decision makers, but in every walk of life, there are plenty of people who are bad at their job. I think it was AT&T had this commercial where they had different, whether it was a doctor or a lawyer that was just, giving bad advice, like just okay is not okay. I think it was an AT&T spot. Like, everybody who has a position is not good at that position, and so just because these people have a title behind their name or formerly held a title, and yes, they spend more time at it than the rest of us in theory, doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. And history proves
what are they
that.
looking at?
There
Right,
are going to be so many people that they're going to miss on first round all the way through. So many people that they're going to underrate who are going to hit late. So many people who are going to overrate that they're going to flop. And so nobody knows what they're talking about. We're just all passing the time. I mean, there's a void that has to be filled with something. There's a content void that has to be filled with something. And you're right, they're bored too. And they're picking up the phone and they're talking and they're just guessing. They're just throwing shit up against the wall and seeing what sticks. They got their own agendas.
How could you say, in good conscience, how could you, see, this is where, people always hate on journalists. This is where you need to have some journalistic training. I'm talking about some good journalistic training. How could you say, in good conscience, I don't know him, but I have character concerns? That doesn't even make any sense.
Right. Seems like quite the contradiction.
So where are your concerns? He talked to one. Okay, so at the combine, he talked to a few teams. At the combine, but post combine, he's talked to one team. He's visited with one team, the Chicago Bears.
Well,
so unless the Chicago
Caleb.
Bears, Caleb, I'm talking about. So unless the Bears are leaking to sabotage their own position, they're the only ones who have talked to Caleb Williams since he left USC. And so what you're doing in your high-profile position, you spend more time than we do at it, but you're reading the same stuff that we read. You have character concerns because you what? Because you read NBCSports.com just like I do?
Social media. No, so what I was going to say, I thought she was saying that the reporters talk to one team. And what clicked for me there is like, there's so much that's taken as gospel where it's like, I talk to one member of a certain team. That person may be in the minority in his or her opinion within that team. Like, they don't necessarily speak for the thinking of the entire team. Right. It's just one area scout. Well, that area scout, he might not be good, and nobody may listen to him within the building. It's just, but it's all just feeding the beast. And props to Ryan Poles, who played his side, getting the memo is like, hey, you're gonna have to wait to find out. It's all about the show.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.